Alright, so now we are going to look at our railing and our sweep. The first thing I want to do, we know that we have these sticking out here and that we have a 1 1/4 inch wide vertical support, and then our railing all sits on the outside of that. So the first thing I want to do is I want to highlight my reference plane. If for some reason you have not dragged yours past, this is why I suggest doing it, because otherwise it gets muddled in with all the other geometry you made. If you really have to, you can click tab once, it'll pick the next thing. Click tab again, it'll pick the next thing. Click tab again, and it should be your reference plane. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to come making sure I'm perpendicular, and I'm going to cover 1 1/4 inches. My mouse happens to have dropped there, but you can always type it. Again, you want to make sure it's perpendicular. Unfortunately, the renaming, it has given it a name, but 2 doesn't really mean anything to me. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to click on that and change it to railing. So now I have a new work plane I can work from. It's still inside of my section 2. So I can still go to my section 2 and do everything I want. Looks like I did not put a wedge here. We're going to need that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one more time. All right. So we know for safety reasons the code requires us to be 42 inches above this stair, 42 inches above this floor, 42 inches above this stair. Our vertical supports are all bolted on the right side in this view of these wedges. So I need to come into architecture. I need to make a model line. I'm going to specify that I'm doing this on railings now instead of stairs. I can start anywhere along this edge, doesn't matter where. Right now, all I'm trying to do is get to the top of the step. So now I'm at the top of the step, and now I can keep going and just type in 42 inches. All right, let me turn off chain, because for right now, that's not helpful. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the last step now. I'm going to come down, I'm going to find any spot along the right side. I'm going to stop here. Now I'm going to establish a new line that goes up 42 inches. All right, fantastic. Now we can connect them. I'm going to do another model line from the top of this to the top of this. And make sure it's snapping. You don't want to be slightly down. What do we need from here? Well, we need to know that this top one is going to be at 42 inches when we come out here for code, and also down here. The easiest way to do that is to create a new level. Right now, these are all crowding each other. You can't even read them. That's because of our scale. Right now we're at 1/8 inch equals 1 foot. If I change this to 3/4 inch equals 1 foot, now they're not just on top of each other and illegible. So I want this to come up 42 inches, and I also want this to come up 42 inches. So I'm going to click on the top one. I'm going to say copy. I'm just going to go up vertically 42 inches. Now we also need to do something for the bottom so it's consistent. I'm going to go with 3 inches. That gives us enough space to be to code, which we just have to be 4 inches or less. I'm going to say 3 inches. And I'm going to do the exact same thing down here. I'm going to copy it up 3 inches and 42 inches. So I'm going to highlight it. Copy it up 3 inches to start. And now I'm going to copy it one more time, 42 inches. So now we know where the rest of our railing that's not on these stairs needs to live. But the names are not terribly useful. So most of our railings are going to be round, with the very top one being a rectangle or flat. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to double click on this level 11. I'm going to call it first floor round. And I'm going to click on this one and call it first floor flat. Same thing up here, but now we're on the second floor. So level 10 is going to become second floor round. And level 9 is going to become second floor flat. The reason we're doing all this ahead of time, just like when we made the openings parallel, if I have 42 inches up here and I have some random height down here, I'm not going to be able to just copy. I'm going to have to keep drawing custom vertical supports, and I don't want to have to do that. So now that we got these established, we're going to take our top diagonal line, we're going to copy it once all the way down until we snap on this line. Now there's 8 more of them in between. I don't know the distance. I'm just going to randomly place them at this point, and then I'll use the Align Dimensions tool to fix that. So let's see. Count that here. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's 8 in between, 1 at the bottom, 1 at the top. So total of 10. Now remember, align moves objects. Align dimensions is what we're trying to use right now. So we're going to say align dimensions. I'm going to start at the bottom, work my way up. Until I have all 10 lines clicked. And I'm just going to drag this up here, and I'm going to click this EQ symbol. Now they're all evenly spaced. If you delete that, just go ahead and click OK. So I have my general concept. Now I need to start thinking about wrapping around the column and doing the rest of it. So I'm going to add some more lines. I'm going to make another model line. I want to again make sure that my reference plane is railing. I'm just going to come from here. I'm going to drag diagonally until I touch that level we created, first floor flat. I'm going to do that again here. We're going to use pick lines whenever we can. Unfortunately, pick lines does not work with diagonals. It only works with flat model lines. So I'm going to extend this until it snaps to that first floor round. Now I'm just going to do a horizontal line that comes out past my column. And we'll use trim later, so it doesn't matter as long as you go out past. So that's where we're going to start. And I'm going to do this top one first, make sure that it's going to work. And then once I've done that, I'm going to use pick line and add them all to this other level. So I'm going to do everything right now on first floor flat and second floor flat. So I'm going to come into my 2D stair. The picture right now is not helpful, so I'm going to right click on it and hide it in view. Alright, so the main thing I need to start to get this wrap around, so I need to establish from the center of this a perpendicular line to this flat one we just drew. So again, I'm going to go model line, but this time we want to change it. We don't want it on level 2. We want to make sure that we are on first floor flat, and it'll line up with this. So I'm going to snap. It should snap to the middle. It's also the intersection of your grids, unless you've had to move your column because it's too close. And I'm going to just come out here and you'll see the perpendicular is already going. So now I've established a connection from the middle of this column to where our natural line of railings is going to be. To curve around, we're going to use the second curve tool here. It's called Center Ends Arc. And you just click on the middle, drag your mouse, click on the outside, drag your mouse, and you'll see it starts drawing a line. It will only do a semicircle. So once you see this dashed line and you have half a circle, click one more time because it won't let you draw more than that. We want to keep going though, so we have to do it twice. We're still on Center Ends Arc. I'm going to click this middle. Now I'm going to snap out here, click again, and I'm going to drag my mouse until I see this dotted line telling me that I've got a nice perpendicular. Alright, let's take a look at it in 3D. And you can see it's at the correct level. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to switch to a straight line. Because I didn't click anything, we're still on model lines and we're still on first floor flat. If I'd clicked another part of the model, I would have to reestablish the fact that we're doing a model line and that we're working on this reference plane. Now I want to come out, I want to be perpendicular, and I'm going to come to this edge of the floor. Remember, this is our bench that we sit on, so this is where the railing is so nobody falls down. And we're going to follow this edge to the corner. And now this one, it gets a little weird because of these walls, but we're trying to snap right here to the edge of that step. Alright, let's look at it in 3D again. Pretty good. We need a diagonal here. We can't really do that from 3D, so I have to go back to section 1. And I can't get the angle correct starting here. So the first thing I need to do is again tell it I'm doing a model line. And this time I'm going to use pick a plane. I'm going to highlight until I see the outline of these stairs that we made the void in. Now it knows that that's where we're drawing from. I'm just going to come from the top step to the corner of the bottom step. Again, pick lines doesn't work well with diagonals, so I'm going to first move this, grabbing the corner up here. And now I want a second one up here, so I'm going to switch to copy. And I'm going to move it straight up. Let's go back to the 3D view. And I'm going to zoom in just to see. Yeah, they're connected. And I'm going to actually change my graphic settings here to make it easier. I'm going to go to hidden line. So now all we have is black, white, and green. That's a whole lot easier to see. So we've got our actual stairs, we've got our wraparound, and we've got everything on the first floor. We need to delete this now that it's done its job. And we need to trim this curve to the horizontal. And if you want to switch to wireframe to make it easier, you can, but I can see enough of it to do it here. Now we need to wrap around this edge towards where the classroom is. So I'm going to come up to level 2 stair crop. I'm going to come back to architecture, model line, pick line, and now I'm going to call it second floor flat. So I can pick this edge, I can pick this edge, I can pick this part of the floor, and I don't remember if I drew a horizontal or not. So let me go to section 2. Yeah, I did not. So now I'm going to switch again because I want to draw one from the top here that's horizontal, but I want it to be on reference plane railings. Whoops. I'm just going to come out past because we're going to use trim tool. So that's all my lines. Now, hopefully the only thing I need to trim is right here. And it can be weird in 3D, so don't be shy about moving your cube around to see what you want. But it looks like I have all of them. I'm gonna, to avoid confusing myself, I'm gonna take these offsets we used for the stringer, and since our stringer is already in place, I'm gonna delete them. We're gonna use this later to mirror our railings, but I'm just gonna hide it in this view because we're gonna use that from a different view. All right, so now I have the least amount of green lines that I can do. I want to do another component model in place. This time it's a railing, so I'm going to the Architecture tab, Component, Model in Place. I'm going to call it a railing. And this time we're going to use a new thing. We're going to use Sweep. And when you're doing a sweep, it wants you to pick the path first. So you're telling it which of these lines you want your shape to move along. And once you've picked them, then you draw the actual shape. So I'm going to start with this diagonal. And that's where my reference plane where I'll draw my object is. And then I'm going to come around. I'm just going to pick each line one at a time until I have everything that might be considered first floor flat. And now I'm seeing that this line goes past. Now that it's magenta, it's easier for me to see. I don't need to stop everything. There's still a trim tool available. So I can click these two. Now in theory, I have a fully enclosed clean sweep. I'm going to click the green button, and the fact that it's telling me I can draw tells me that all of these are connected in a way that Revit will work with. You have two options at this point. You can go ahead and draw your flat top and then hide it, or you can cancel out and start using pick lines to move all your model lines. I'm going to go ahead and draw it now. I'm going to say Edit Profile. And then I'm going to come to the line. Now remember, this top line is already at 42 inches. So we need to come down from there. And our material is a 1/2 inch thick and 1 1/4 inches wide. So I'm going to say 0.5 inches. And then I'm going in towards the stairs. 1.25 inches. Then I'm going to go up, making sure I'm staying 90 degrees. And depending on your angle, this can be harder or easier. So I need to go back to my 3D. I don't want to do this in any other view than 3D. It allows me to understand whether I'm grabbing a model line versus a wall or floor or something else that's already in the model. So I have this rectangular shape. I need to set the material to steel. I'm going to use the same ASTM that we used for the pans and everything else. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click OK. And we're going to finish the model. Now you can see I have one flat railing that goes from the classroom door all the way down to these lower stairs. Alright, so I want to move all these model lines down, but I can't do that as easily while this railing's here. So I'm going to click on it, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to hide the element. I don't want to hide the category because we're going to draw more railings here in a second. Now any of these that are not diagonal, I can use the pick line tool and my reference plane to basically lower them down to where I want them. So here's pick line. I'm in model lines. And now I'm going to start again with my first floor round. I'm going to pick this flat, this curve, and you can see it's getting drawn as I click them. Here, here. Again, it doesn't work with diagonals, which is why we already copied this one up. That's all my lower stuff. Now I need to switch my reference plane to second floor round. I'm going to pick all of these lines. And I know because they worked here, they're going to work for the next one. Same process, architecture, component, model in place. It's a railing. Click OK. It's another sweep. And this time, since I'm not worried about the orientation and making sure I'm going towards the stairs, it's round. I'm just going to pick this line because it's furthest away from anything else, and I can draw on it easily. Make sure, again, see, this is the edge of the floor. This is your model line. If you were in a top-down view, you wouldn't know what you were picking. So that's why I always do this in 3D, so I can understand. And if you accidentally grab the wrong thing, like let's say I accidentally grab this vertical, all I have to do is click it again, and it unselects it, or deselects it, however you want to phrase that. I'm going to keep going around. Again, we've got this extended beyond for some reason, even though I've trimmed it. That's fine. I will fix that in just a second. I'm going to use trim and clean up this edge. And I'm going to say OK. And now I need a small circle. If I try and do it from out here, it's going to tell me it's too small to see. So I'm going to click Edit Profile. I'm going to zoom way in. I'm just going to pick the circle tool. And I want a 1/4 inch radius because the thing has a 1/2 inch diameter. So I'm going to say 0.25 inches. Hopefully it's still steel. Yes, it's still steel. I'm going to say OK. OK. Finish model. Alright, I'm going to try and unhide this real quick. There's a light bulb down here that's blue. If for some reason you're not seeing that, you can also just hold the R and the H key at the same time. That's reveal hidden. It's annoying. You're going to see stuff that we don't want to see, but just like I did with the floor, I can override the graphics on this roof, and I can crank up the transparency. And I just need to move my cube enough so that I can see this flat railing we made. And I can click unhide element, and then when I uncheck or click this bulb again, now we're back to our regular view. I do not need to make a bunch more model lines here. All I need to do is highlight this, the railing itself, and copy it up. I'm not going to do that from 3D. I'm going to come into my section. I'm going to use where these model lines meet each other as my reference. I'm going to say copy. So right here is where the model lines meet. I'm going to come up, 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 up. All right. Let's take a look. Look at our 3D, and beautiful. We have our railing that goes all the way around. We'll add supports in the next video. What I'm going to show you now is how to get these diagonals copied over so that we can do it on the other side. I'm going to go back to section 2. If you're seeing more than you want, you can always come in here and move your section cut, but I think I already have enough. So I just want to come in here and I'm going to start up here high, and I'm going to click and I'm going to hold my mouse until I've got all that stuff. Now I got more than I want here, but Revit has this filter function, and I can uncheck everything and make sure that it's only the model lines I want. So I say apply, I say okay, I come back into my level 2 stair crop, and I tell it I want to mirror these, picking an axis. And so this is why we kept that one line. So I'm going to mirror it, and now you can see they've showed up over here. I might have some extras, I don't know, we'll find out in a minute. But I can delete a couple of extras rather than having to redraw them all. How am I going to see this? If I go to my section 2, all I'm looking at still is all this. I need a third section box, or section cut. So I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to use this little icon up here, section. I'm going to snap on my grid G. I'm going to make sure that I'm perpendicular to that. I want to make sure I drag this out though. I don't want any overlapping geometry. We're going to be using pick lines later. And if this is too close to the edge, it's not going to be very helpful. I don't really need to see this far into the building. I only need to see this little bit. I'm just going to drag this out as well. Alright, so now if I open up section 3, which is automatically populated, you can see I have all my model lines. I don't need to extend down here because these don't wrap around. But I do need to draw a horizontal line here. So I'm going to go to architecture, model line. Now we don't have a reference plane anymore. So we're going to use this thing we haven't used before that's called pick a line and use the work plane. So I'm going to click on this. And now I can just come out. Oh, I'm still on circle. I can just come out past. All right, let's check the 3D view. Yep, I've got my horizontal. Now I'm going to come back into level 2 stair crop. I'm going to make sure I'm still on second floor flat, and I'm using pick plane or pick line. And I'm just going to get the edge of the floor, and I'm going to get this edge of the floor. Come back to my 3D, and now I just need to use a little trim. So I'm going to trim here to here. And rather than do this, hide it, select them again, I'm going to go ahead and keep picking lines. I'm going to go back to architecture, model line, pick line. Now I'm just going to do second floor round. I'm going to pick a whopping 3 lines this time. Now the process is the exact same here. I'll show you the flat one just because we're changing orientation. Over here we went down and to the left, but now we're further away from the stairs, so we're going to come down and in. So I'm going to go to component, model in place. Oh, no, that's a roof drain. We don't want that. It's going to be a railing. Okay, it's going to be a sweep. I'm going to pick this one again because I want to make sure I'm going down and in towards the stairs. Here, here, and here. And now I'm going to say okay. And if it makes it easier for you, you can rotate this around to be more of a flat view. It's up to you. If it makes it easier for you to remember you're coming down and in towards the stairs, go ahead and rotate. I'm going to say edit profile. going to do a straight line. I'm going to go down 1/2 inch. I'm going to come over 1 1/4 inches. Come straight up. Straight over. It should still be steel. Okay, okay. Finish. So rather than show the circle and copying it again, it's the exact same process. You'll draw it on the bottom one, follow this whole path, and then you'll copy it up when it's done. All right, I'm going to end this one to keep it as short as I possibly can, and then I'll do a separate one for the vertical supports.